Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Now we are back again with 2 war videos. I didn't upload war number 3 because I only had a few fights in there and I didn't think it would make enough for a full video. So without further ado, this is the 3rd war of the season where I'm going to be using Cassie, Valkyrie and Nimrod. And this is going to be a fairly straightforward war for me. I believe I only had like 3 fights. I shared the path with White Mummy on one of the lanes. And then we're going to have a bit more substantial war against Chinese alliance. I cannot, figure out what their name is, or I certainly would butcher it anyways. But yeah, so this is the war where we actually had 30 members taking part, and we could play the defense. And then in the break time, when one of our members retired, we're actually going to be down a person. But we did get quite fortunate because our opponents, well, did not necessarily watch for the death count in that war. So far, so good, basically. So the first fight here is going to be on Hazard Shift, Cassie against Sasquatch. And the cool thing about using Cassie against Hazard Shift and most of the Hazard Shift champions is that you can kind of ignore the Incinerate. Like, you can use her, for instance, on Shock Hazard Shift or a Poison Hazard Shift because she's immune to those. And as long as you get Taunt up relatively early on in the fight, you can, for most part, generally ignore the other debuff as well and let them just kind of stack up without excess. Obviously, you still want to pay attention to stuff like that. But because of Taunt and because of Inequity, she takes significantly reduced damage from the Hazard Shift debuffs as well. And this, no, it's kind of funny, especially for champions like Sasquatch, because it basically has the power reserve or power efficiency node where they use half the power that they have for special attacks that they normally would. And then champions like Sasquatch, when he enters Wrath, it basically means that they're using no power when they are throwing specials. But obviously for Cassie, it doesn't really matter because they just keep throwing specials and they keep detonating the power strings that Cassie places on them. This is like one of the favorite interactions, really. I did make a small spacing mistake there, but luckily I didn't get punished for it. Still at 95% power, and we can see that Sasquatch here again enters his Wrath, and as soon as he's going to start throwing those specials, he's not losing the power, and he's just basically killing himself. So I love Cassie for this node. She's so awesome. Right, the next fight was for White Mummy, so I'm just going to quickly fast forward, and then I do have a couple of fights in section 2, so we moved at the same time basically, but here I'm going to have Weapon X and I'm going to use Power Start 1, and then I'm going to have Jessica Jones. Now Weapon X fight is going to be nice, quick, simple, beautiful. I'm going to use Power Start 1 as well, and the entire point is get to level 2 and life's going to be good. In this case, I'm not even going to really wait until the shock phase expires. We are just, going to get to the 10 armor ups, and now here we go. I am at 2 bars of power. I don't necessarily want him to throw that special. I will throw mine. Now it had 12 armor ups. The shock potency is increased significantly, and that Weapon X absolutely gets destroyed. Now Nimrod has definitely fallen off in popularity in the game and relevance in the game 100%, but there is just no denying that when you do get to use Nimrod, it's absolutely fantastic. And now we're going to be going with Valkyrie against Jessica Jones. Now I will make a blunder somewhere along the way, I believe, but for most part this entire fight is just hit the block and be happy. Nothing else to it. Right, so just hit the block and be happy. Hitting the block doesn't trigger Hazard Shift. Valkyrie ramps up, hitting her block. I will make somewhat of an egregious mistake, I think, somewhere where I'm going to be trying to do something that I ought not necessarily have done. I think somewhere at this point we're going to see that. So I'm going to try and switch her, but nope. I was hoping that I'm going to manage to drop in the 4 lights and she's not going to punish me for it, but she did. So I immediately lost some health there. But I'm not too concerned about that because fight's definitely still under control. She's at 80% health, I'm at 77, but I have finished with my ramp up. I'm not cornered. And now I can throw my level 2. As we can see, it's dealing decent amount of damage, but it's going to be even better when I finally get to hit her block. Unfortunately, she used her level 1 and she doesn't want to hold the block, so I basically waste most of my fury. But it still doesn't matter because I do at this point have like 5 pierce effects, and even without that fury, Obviously, we're dealing substantial amount of damage on the block, including that instant bleed damage. And she's at 15%, so I have virtually nothing to worry about here. And yeah, as we can see, she's at like 10%. Another combo in the block, and I think I'm gonna finish it with like special, and that's just good enough. So we fairly convincingly won that war. Now this is gonna be from the current war. We're gonna be using Havoc, Mantis, and Cassie, and we're gonna have some interesting fights. So first up, this is going to be a bit rough because it's going to be Havoc against Korg, which obviously is a very good matchup. But I'm going to have issues with my controls, and I have been having this more and more. After this fight, I restarted the game. I rewiped the screen, rewiped my hands, so there will be like a pause in the recording. So this is a hazard chip lane. I'm going to be using Havoc. It's a poison and incinerate. So when the poison phase is active, basically I'm going to be trying to parry as much and stay away from Korg. Incinerate phase, I'm going to be attacking Korg. Or was it shock phase? Well, whichever one. I think this one is shock. But basically, yeah, this one is incinerate. So yeah, we again have power efficiency, but on Korg, that's, not necessarily a bad thing. I'm going to be putting on some mutant boosts here because I'm going to be using Havoc for some other fights. One of the fights is going to be very beautiful that I will really, really like and enjoy. This is not going to be one of those. This is going to be a bit more annoying again, where I'm going to have some control issues. So we can see that I'm going to be activating invulnerability boost as well for this one, which, to be honest, I suppose did earn its keep here. And the start of this fight is obviously very simple. Just going to go in here and get rid of the rock stacks, then we don't need to worry about anything. We can block the level 1 as well to build up charges quicker. Now, poison, I do want to get rid of that. Here, he catches me on dashback, which was the first. This has been happening more and more. Like, when I could swear that I do dash, and it just doesn't. And here we are awaiting the level 1. Another level 1, but in this time I get smacked by it, which is very inopportune moment because I'm giving him more charge, more rock stacks that I need to get rid of. And here we can see that my level 1 awaits are not on point again. This is another issue that has been plaguing me very recently. I used to be very, very consistent in awaiting that. Now I'm in a corner and he has 9 of those charges and I can't get out of it, so I just decide to go for it. I'm going to throw my level 3, even though I know it's not going to do any damage. But at the very least, I'm going to get out of the corner and I'm going to have a chance to regroup, because this was a fairly scary start of the fight for sure. And now we're just going to be, effectively resetting the fight. I still, end up getting that core down to 55%, even though I did miss out on most of my, damage from the special attack. I still got the detonation damage in. But just need to be patient and wait for the incinerate phase, build up some prowesses with a bunch of parries. And now I can go in and get rid of his rock stacks first. And then we can actually try and close out the fight. Now here I'm going to make a mistake because I got anxious and I dropped my level 2, which I shouldn't have because none of the hits crit and it didn't. Well, to be fair, mutant power boost did give me back a fairly substantial amount of power, but now I need to wait out the poison phase again. This fight has been made so much more difficult by me than it should have because of the awful start. If you're going to notice that, initially after that, very bad start, rest of the fight kind of started going fine. And now, obviously, level 3 is going to be enough to absolutely cook that Korg down. So I did restart my game after that and, wipe the screen and everything else. Now I need to deal with the Photon. Photon is one of those champions that's always scary, regardless of where you face Photon, because, you mess up, it can basically end you in moments. Feat of Indestructible, Hazard Shift, Power Focus 1, all that good stuff in here. I'm going to be using Advanced Power Boost for this fight just to help Mantis get to the level 2 quicker, because I do want to get in and out of this fight as fast as possible. Very important, do not ever use skill, power boosts in this fight when you're using Mantis because of the Indestructible Power 1. As we can see that I started with the bar of power and she starts Indestructible. If I were to use a skill power back boost, that would kind of like make this fight significantly trickier than it should be. Anyways, now I have built up 20 charges, have 2 bars of power, life's good. I'm gonna drop 110, 160, 270k special. This was a very, very, very nice fight. Quite enjoyed that. Now we're going to move on to the next fight, which is going to be a Nick Fury. Nick Fury, I'm going to fast forward here a bit because it is stretching out a little bit. And Nick Fury on Hazard Shift with Power Focus 2. Nick Fury is also a Magic Thief champion, but that's not going to be a problem. And here, the funny thing is that Havoc's not either immune to shock or bleed, but he's still going to do a phenomenal job because obviously he has massive energy resistance. And when you do place shocks on Havoc, he kind of starts, going absolutely ham. And then the bleed phase would just need to kind of like tough it out, slow it down in a sense. Still have the Power Stat 1 boost active here as well, which I will ill-advisedly use at the beginning here. I should not use that level 1. I don't remember actually. I do use it here or not? I think I might. But either way, we can see that Nick Fury is, melting with those shocks very, 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 very fast. And now the bleed phase is active, so I just want to kind of slow play this, build up my power. And there will be definitely a mistake here in this fight as well, but I should not absolutely use my special 3 here because he only has like 30-some percent health. What I should have done is just hit him a few times and destroy him organically with, my plasma detonations and whatnot. But because I do so, I will not have a level 3 ready for his second life. And then when he does get his Fury, those debuffs are going to start feeling, a lot more. Here, the key thing here is just not start dexing like crazy, trying to bait out special attack. It's much more important to kind of slow play it, let the plasmas and everything else do the job. Also, obviously, Havoc is passively gaining power, which is super useful for me. Now I get a couple of shocks on me. Again, I do need to be more careful with these because of the Fury. But, as soon as I get level 3, job's done. The Nick is dead. And we're going to see that, just way overkill here. Havoc's been a good lad. I'm genuinely considering of sending Havoc for the Alliance War because I do kind of expect to use him quite a bit. If he's going to get assigned to me the next war, I'll probably end up ascending him. Now we have One-Eyed Open, Hazard Chip, Choke and Bleed, Ebony Maw, and I'm going to be using Cassie for that. Now again, Cassie is shock immune, but even during the bleed phase, if I have Taunt active, you can kind of attack and you're not going to get that much damage to you because of the Taunt. So now I do get in my heavy attack, which is awesome. I will make a mistake at some point here as well because, I used Cassie a lot in the Sugar Pill Decay tactic time, but since then I have started using her less. Now here's going to be a mistake where I just mistime my heavy punish, which is kind of annoying. We're back at the shock phase, so I'm going to finish a combo with a light in order to place that poison on. And now we're just going to phase out the entire level 1, and we're going to knock... Nope! We did get the power things on, but unfortunately, I didn't quite manage to finish the heavy attack. And now I do have 8 bleeds, which obviously are at this point doing some damage, because 8 is a lot. But as we can see, if we get only like 1 or 2 bleeds, they barely do any damage. So I did get kind of carried away taking those bleed debuffs on me, but at the same time, I knew that I'm going to be able to finish him way quicker than those bleeds or anything else is going to happen to me, because I, snuck up quite a lot of power things, and I'd much rather stay in the rhythm of the fight and take some damage, because this is the only fight that I'm using Cassie on. Now, the next fight is going to be annoying, so I'm actually going to die to this one, because it's Hazard Shift, Incinerate, Poison, and Stun Immune, and Magic Thief. And I'm going to be using Havoc, and this is the fight where I kind of felt where my Havoc is inadequate or maybe a bit too small. Obviously, with a better game plan and playing more cleanly, I probably would have done better. But the entire point here kind of is hit him during the Incinerate, obviously. Avoid hitting him during the Poison. Parry as much as possible to deal with the Indestructibles. And again, I should not have used this level 1 because I didn't realize that, I'm not going to be able to get my heavy in. And that's kind of going to cost me. So now I just want to parry a lot to make sure I do have my prowesses active as much as possible. And I'm going to get to my level 3 very successfully, right? I do have some prowess buffs active here as well. The entire point is, just, mutant power back boosts. and level 3, and hopefully we're going to be able to do significant amounts of damage. But this is also a big surfer, and now he's unblockable, which is not great. So I'm going to activate my level 3 here, and Havoc's level 3 doesn't seem that impressive, as in the good old days when you're going up against 7-stars. And now, obviously, I do make a slight mistake here, get punished because of unblockable, but I also do want to make sure that I don't dex too much. And the chip damage is starting to add up, and eventually, I think what's going to happen here is that I'm going to get cornered. So, thank God for resist there as well. I was not ready for that one. Again, we are nearly at 3 bars of power here. And I do need to bait out that level 2 before I do anything else. But as we can see, he doesn't really want to throw it. So I chose to activate my level 3 because his energized buff had fallen off. So I knew I'm not going to push him to 3 bars of power, and this is going to give me a better chance. But still, I'm definitely losing this health race because I'm at 38% health and he's at 53. And yeah, this fight definitely doesn't seem to be kind of going in my favor. Wish my Havoc was bigger. Wish I had the 7-star Havoc to begin with, but this fight definitely made me kind of like wish to send my 6-star Havoc for now, if I'm gonna get these type of assignments. So here I make a mistake in the corner, get caught, and I die. Obviously, I'm just gonna heal up and finish up the fight kind of better. But you know, it is what it is. It is not, you know, stupidly hard fight. I would say it was obviously my own fault. I could have played better. At the same time, it wasn't one of those where you just go in, drop a level 3 and win clearly, because I did drop 2 level 3s and he was still half alive. So it's just the way it is. I don't know what else to say. I definitely could have played better. I, on the other hand, don't feel like I screwed up absolutely majorly here either, especially because we are definitely winning this war, because as I said, our opponents in this war died quite a lot. So again, he doesn't really want to throw that special, but I just take it on the block, which I'm okay with. Get rid of the indestructibles. Gonna activate my level 3 here, and this is gonna do more damage than the previous ones did. And now I have 2 bars myself. I just need to wait out the poison phase. Just again build up more prowesses so I can get rid of the indestructibles. And now that the incinerate phase has started, I'm going to drop level 2, which is in fact going to be enough. And that is it. That's all the contribution from me in this war. And yeah, so those have been the last 2 wars so far this season. Out of 4 wars, I have died once. Then again, I haven't had necessarily the hardest fights, the hardest matchups in general. I'm doing approximately an average amount of fights so far this season. Let me know how your war season is going, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the next